Welcome back to Wake Up Epic. We're going to explore the 40-second hexagram, gene key, and human design gate. We're starting with the embodied story, and then we'll layer in a few things. By the time we're done, we'll have embodied 4 different possibilities that emerge out of the 42 and find our own way with those unique patterns. And since we're using the embodiment of it, you get to take away a tool. So whether you have the 42 in your chart and profile in any way, or you're just working on your own process with expectation and detachment and celebration, you'll have a tool that you can use forever. The embodied story starts with the hexagram. The top of the hexagram, the top trigram, is a position in our body called gateway. We shift back, come up, and open up wide. Now this movement gateway comes from UZAZU, and we're using UZAZU to step directly into the patterns of the hexagram. So gateway is the top of the trigram. And this is like saying we come into ourselves, put our attention over here, letting the world go a bit. Then we're rising up, thinking about activating our own motivation, our own agency, self-agency. And then we're opening up wide to take a wider perspective. So gateway by itself is a place of self-reflection, self-esteem. Ideally, it's confidence. And of course, it could be anything that's in the way of that. The bottom of the trigram is yang, yin, yin. We come forward, down, and narrow. In UZAZU, this is bridge. We're bridging with each other. Ideally, we're opening this connection. We're making it possible to give and receive. But it's not that active. It's not like, let's make this connection happen. Let's throw a party. It's much more, hey, I get you. It's empathy. I understand you and I can see you. So then the embodied story of the 42 is something like this. In a world that allows for safe confidence, safe self-reflection, I choose to connect. And we are individual parts, selves running around the world. We're connecting, we're learning, we're getting the benefits of connecting, and we come back into and contribute that to the whole. So the inquiry, the story, if we do this a few times, is how's my self-confidence? How's my self-esteem? I choose to connect. Having connected, I bring that back into self-esteem, self-confidence, self-reflection for more, for others. So we're constantly going from what's the world supporting us? What am I choosing? And how am I bringing that back to the whole? It's a hero's journey again and again. So then what does this have to say about expectation? The themes from the gene keys: expectation, detachment, celebration. Let's start with detachment. Imagine you are fully actualized. I like being me. Try saying that. I like being me. What other variations of that are nice? It's good to be me. Then choose to come into connection. Like, what is it like to connect, knowing that it's good to be me, knowing that other people, I'm supported, that it's good to be me. And then having connected from that space, what does connection then have to offer other people and a whole world where it's just safe to be ourselves, to know ourselves? So imagine then detachment. And maybe in contrast, imagine not having detachment. Imagine being very, very attached. I'm attached to my sense of self. And from being really forced in thinking about what I should be and having to defend that, now I'm going to try to connect with you. Sales, marketing, teaching, friendship, partnership. Ugh. So if you feel this, it might want to contract. It might want to pull back. It's like, this isn't just a hanging out together. And this is how we start to really make progress very, very quickly. Detachment is starting to show up in our body because of the way we've positioned this. From there, how are we going to come back in to serve others in trusting themselves? So expectations. How many expectations do we need to have about ourselves, or what expectations do we have about ourselves that sort of distort our sense of self or distort our ability to feel supported in who we are? And so if I say to you, you guys look great today, what inner expectation inside you doesn't allow that to land? That instead of being like, yes, there's a little shame that percolates. So expectations are in our body anywhere that this gateway or this bridge is constricted or all over the place, or I need to connect with you. So we can start to really iron out the wrinkles in our experience with expectation, let them come to the surface, and keep detaching to find the flow between connection and our sense of self as it's evolving. And then what a celebration would that be? What a celebration. Try celebration. Imagine you're coming in, there's something to celebrate. I wonder what it is. You come in feeling just authentically good about yourself, not too much, not too little. You brought something. Hey, I am the gift, but in a humble way. And then you connect. There's some people at the party that you resonate with, a few more than others. Maybe it's the cake. I would go resonate with the cake. And then there's a letting go, like letting go of the connection, the what's the word? We don't need codependence. We can let go of that empathic connection and just come back to feeling at home in who we think we are. After we go through the 4 possibilities, then we'll do a few minutes of just a few rounds in silence where I won't be laying down the ideas. So for a moment, check in with your body. How do you feel right now? We've mapped Gene Key's ideas and the UZAZU movements. The last piece to drop in here is the human design theme. And it says that the gate of growth, 42 is the gate of growth, is the energy of maximizing the potential and bringing it to closure. Closure or completion of growth is necessary to allow the next step to be taken. And I'll give you a little side note. I've been doing a lot of work around imposter syndrome, and I'm doing a workshop soon about that. Achievement is what we need to be able to internalize to not feel like an imposter. Gateways are a really important piece. Actually, bridge is a very important piece, because to internalize an achievement is to say, I'm letting this into self, and I'm letting this inform my sense of self. Closure and completeness is the definition of an achievement. It's the act of successfully completing something. And so whether we are successfully completing an expectation, or we're successfully completing a detachment, we can really see everything as achievement if we're willing to complete it and recognize the completion. So 42 has just a lot of value in terms of letting us show up without being an imposter, without being a fake, knowing our strengths, and then being able to come in and connect to others. Okay, are you ready for the 4 possibilities? All right, here's how the game works. There are 4 statements. You've probably done affirmations in the past. Instead of an affirmation like you're trying to force the thing inside you to be true, we're going to use these words like we're dropping pebbles into water. So the words, for example, the energies here are being vulnerably present with others and open to their input and feedback. That's one of the main, that's the category of these 4 beliefs. And if you look at it, gateway is a space of being vulnerable and open, not hopefully defended, like this is who I am, but this is who I am. And we want to be vulnerable, connecting, and that allows for input, feedback, giving, receiving. So hopefully it's pretty obvious that being vulnerably present with others to open to their feedback and their input is right there in the embodiment of it. And so we're very, very intentional about that category of possibility. And then there's 4 subsets. So as I say them, and I'll say them slower, you'll repeat them for yourself, almost like you're whispering into your own destiny while doing the movement. So there's a few layers. It's a little complex, but it's also simple. So again, the summary is, I'll say things, you repeat them. We're doing the movement. You don't have to keep up with me. You can go slower or faster. But by doing the pattern and connecting these 2 movements, you are generating a new set of possibilities in your body. And the words are helping generate and open those possibilities in your mind. And so we're doing just a lot of alchemy. And we'll see then what shows up today over the next few days. Any questions? Okay, kind of clear? Here we go. So I start with gateway. So from gateway, I am genuinely open. And at your own speed, moving to bridge, you can follow me or not. And inspired by the input I receive from others. I can deeply value both the positive and the negative feedback and input that I receive. I can connect with others in a special way that includes my own authenticity. Last one. I allow myself to be fully present and fully seen in my intimate relationships. Great work. Let that go. Take a moment and just be in your own body for a moment. We'll have a moment of space, and then we'll wrap up with a final dive through them. Those were a lot of ideas, so focus just on how your body feels. Now, having set all that space, all that framework and perspective about being vulnerable and open to input and authentic connection with others, in that set of possibilities, what's your breakthrough? What could be your breakthrough? Take a moment to contemplate that so that as we step into our last part of the practice, you can open up a gentle breakthrough. Where do you need input? Where do you resist input? Where do you need vulnerable connection with others? What is the breakthrough possibility for you? Now, when we step into this final part of the practice, one of the keys to the breakthrough side of things, like we want to open up something that we've never let ourselves open before. So as we do the 2 movements, there's no wrong way to do it. And the one right way to do it is the way you end up doing it. So as you do it, if you feel yourself needing to go slower, go slower. If you feel it needs to be smaller, go smaller. The game is to just find your own authentic path through this while increasing your care, your love, and your listening. Here we go. So do about 5 rounds, starting with gateway. I will be saying almost nothing. So gateway, moving towards bridge, and then from bridge, when you're ready, moving back to gateway. So 5-ish rounds on your own time, own speed. If you ever run into a spot where you don't really want to move, spend time with it. Stop there and pause. And then continue when you want. Recall the idea and the invitation and the gift of detachment, of completion, closure, and detachment. And just add that into your process. Find a completion in the next few moments. End in gateway. Once in gateway, you are done with the practice. Take a moment with your hands or your heart or anywhere else that feels like it just really completes it for you. And to really land the completion, say these words in your own way. I recognize that I have completed this practice. And no matter what I think, I have successfully completed this practice. Okay, well done. To finish our Wake Up Epic in this collective space, if you have something you feel like you'd like to share that's a win, that's a breakthrough, that's a takeaway or an insight, then I'll give you a few moments to share it. Just a quick, here's the gem. Any questions, anything else we'll leave for after the recording, which is an invitation to anyone who's watching this. You want to be on these mini Wake Up Epic classes. So is there anything you'd like to share? Yeah, Gabriel.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to share that I realized that, well, being myself or authentically me, I tend to be defensive / aggressive sometimes, and that just landed in me, and I'm thankful for that.
Thank you.
I felt resistance when giving, that letting it go, that surrender in that moment into detachment. and I kind of faced myself into why, which is something I've been dealing with. So it's pretty powerful.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I had an opportunity to really track the transition. It's a really interesting one because there is openness that's called for in both of these two ways of being. And yet there is also an assertive component, and it's quite a fine line of going back and forth. So this particular combination is such a great opportunity to track that. So I felt like there is more there to be discovered. Really rich.
Thanks, Alexandra.
In my different time zone, it was half an hour out. I got a glimpse of your teachings, and it was my whole afternoon I experienced. And me and a friend came together and we spoke about the last part I got. This is what we spoke about. In the no time, it's so yeah, I received. Thank you.
Thank you, Hetty. Every time you do this practice, there's going to be more. You can be as intentional as you want with the 42. You can also just take this where you go. So there's the top-down approach where we take the ideas and we invite them into our bodies and our experience and then learn. And then there's the bottom-up approach where we just step into the movement or the words and see what wants to emerge. So thanks for participating in Wake Up Epic. Enjoy the practice. Thanks for being epic and being you. And I'll see you in the next Wake Up Epic.